Hey everyone, it's Scoop Phase here. We've got Infernoble Knights this time around. Um, what you'll notice when if you eventually watch the Scoop Phase episode later, the deck changed since then. I didn't end up doing the Scoop build at the same time as recording that. But I feel this one's better than the one you'll see in the video, but it essentially works the exact same way. It's just we kind of fix some things up a little bit. So what we have here is we have Infernoble Knights. It's only 42. In the Scoop Phase episode, it's going to end up being 50, I think. But anyways, we'll go over this. It's just a link spam, make a Soul Day, Auroradon, all that stuff. So, really quick, I'm just playing 6 hand traps. There's not a lot of room for them, but there is technically some room for them. So my hand traps of choice, I picked Nibiru. It conflicts a little bit with the deck, but it's just such a powerful hand trap. I figure it's just really good. And then I picked Ash Blossom because it's just generically good. And like worst case scenario, we could like special Quantum Layer, normal Ash, make Needle Fiber, and then maybe do something off of that. So since she's a tuner, so that's good. And then so that's it for the hand trap stuff. So we'll go over the Infernoble Knights first, the main deck ones. We have Ogier. We only have one of her. So most of the Infernoble Knights, at least 2 of them that you'll see here, they all have an effect where when they're in the graveyard, they can equip to a warrior, and then they gain one. They give that warrior some kind of effect, like Ogier. That warrior can't be destroyed by card effects. And then so that's her grave effect, and then her on summon effect, you get to send a Noble Arm card or a Fire Warrior from your deck to the graveyard. So she's kind of like an Armageddon Knight specifically for Noble Knight, Infernoble Knights. But like she's okay. She's mainly here to combo with Gearfried and Renaud, so we're only going to play one of her. And in this deck, it's really easy to search stuff, so you really only need one. And then we have 3 Oliver. He's really important. So he has the same grave effect as Ogier to equip to a warrior, but then he makes it that that warrior can't be targeted, which is really nice. And then he's a tuner, level 4 tuner. And then he has an effect where you can send a Fire Warrior monster or an equip spell from your hand or field to the graveyard to special summon him, and he becomes a level 1. So then he becomes a level 1 tuner, which is kind of nice. And so he helps you, he's mainly an extender to try and get to like Needle Fiber, so like if they Ash your Soul Day, you can still make the Needle Fiber. And then the other Infernoble Knight we have here is Renaud. He's arguably the best one. So if you control a Fire Warrior monster, you can just special summon him from your hand, and then if you do that, he's treated as a tuner, and then you can only special summon once that way, and then if he's special summoned, you can target one of your Fire Warrior monsters or one of your equipped spells that's in your graveyard or that's banished and add it to your hand, which is really nice. So if they DD Crow something, it doesn't matter. He's just going to add it back. And then the tuner effect is actually really nice too, because then it also gives you another kind of extender into Needle Fiber, which is really good. And he's just level 1, so like you can send one thing off of a Soul. You can send an equip off of a Soul Day, special summon him, and then he'll just add that equip that you send, which is kind of nice. Then I play one Astolfo. Most people don't play this card. I like it. So its effect is you can banish a Fire Warrior from your hand or graveyard, and then you special summon this card from your hand. And then you can make this become the level of the warrior that you banished, which sometimes comes up, sometimes doesn't. It's just another extender. It's another Infernoble Knight name. And then its graveyard effect's really slow. It rarely is ever going to actually end up resolving, because you're probably going to either win or lose by then. But you can banish it from your graveyard, and then during the second standby phase after you do this, so like 2 turns later, you can special summon one of your Fire Warrior monsters that's banished or in your graveyard. So that's cool, I guess. I just like playing it because it's an Infernoble Knight name, and it's a free extender. Well, it's not free extender, but it's another extender. And then we have some more kind of warrior stuff in the deck. We have 3 Immortal Phoenix Gearfried. He's an honorary Infernoble Knight. So he's a Fire Warrior, level 9. You can summon him from your hand by banishing a equip spell from your field or grave, which that actually combos really nice with Renaud, because you can banish your equip spells and still get them back even when they're banished. And then he summons himself. And then, quick effect, when an opponent activates a monster effect, you can send a face-up equip card that you control to the graveyard to negate the activation and destroy it. So it doesn't even have to be equipped to him, it could be equipped to something else. And you can send it to negate. So like he helps you play around Nibiru, like if you use Ogier, because you can have Ogier send him, and then you can have Renaud add him back to hand, which is really nice. And then he also has another effect on top of all of that. is when he attacks, you can equip one face-up monster on the field to this card, and then he gains 500 attack, which it doesn't target. So if you've baited the Dragoon negate out and he attacks, he'll just equip the Dragoon, and so he can out a Dragoon by himself, which is really nice. So he's just really good. We're playing. I used to play two, but ever since Link Cross went away, it's kind of harder to play around than Nibiru now. So I think it's more important to have Gearfried as much as possible. And a lot of times you can get Nibiru, but then still set up like Gearfried and then maybe like a hand trap, which is sometimes enough depending on what you got. And so that's it for Gearfried. And then we have some extenders here. I'll go over them first. We have Super Quantum Red Layer. He's a fire warrior. If you control no monsters, you can just special summon him. He also has another effect where if you special summon, you can target a super quant in your graveyard, add to your hand. So like you can add another one of him back to hand, which that came up one time when I was playing. I don't know if it was in the episode or not, but that actually does come up sometimes. And then the other like really good extender we have is Fire Flint Lady. So if you just control a warrior, so it's unlike Renaud, it's just any warrior, not just a fire warrior. You can just special summon her from your hand. And then you can send her to the graveyard to special summon one of your level 4 or lower warrior monsters from your hand. So if you open the Gemba, you can summon her off of Isolde, and then just use her effect to just summon the Gemba out of your hand if you really want to, which is nice. So that's it for the extenders, because the goal is to make Isolde first. That kind of gets all your plays going, and then step up into Needle Fiber and stuff. And then from there, we just have some other warrior / Needle Fiber stuff. We have Neospace Connector. I mean, you normal summon him, you summon Aqua Dolphin. That's 2 warriors right there. So that's just a normal summon to Solde. And then on top of that, Aqua Dolphin can kind of try and pick off hand traps in your opponent's hand, which is really nice. And then we have this Gemba here. It's important. You need a level 2 tuner to do a lot of the plays, and it needs to be a warrior to summon off of a Solde. And you can there's another level 2 warrior tuner called TG Striker, but I think Gemba's just kind of better because he's a fire. So there's a really good combo if you open a Solde plus Renaud. And it works because Gemba's a fire. So that's a really good thing about Gemba. Other than that, he really doesn't do anything else. I don't think you can even resolve his effect. So he's just there. I mean, he's got a pretty good defense, I guess. That's something. And then the last 2 monsters in the deck is we have the Colt Wing and the Deskbot. They're just there for you summon the Deskbot off of Halqifibrax, and then you make Auroradon, and you do a bunch of token shenanigans. Then eventually you get him out, and then the Deskbot comes back. And then we actually get to summon Colt Wing a second time, which is really funny. So yeah, that's it for the monsters. And then the rest of the cards are just spells. So we have Reinforcement of the Army. Just search a level 4 warrior from your deck to your hand. You can see why that's really good. We have Heritage of the Chalice, which adds a Noble Knight monster or a Noble Arms card. So this is pretty much 3 more copies of Reinforcement of the Army. You just can't get Neospace Connector with it. What's so important about this is it can get you any of your Noble Knights or any of your... Yeah, it can get you any of your Noble Knights, or it can get you this, your 1 Noble Arm in here, Durandal. So this card, when it's equipped to a monster, you can send it to grave, or you can destroy this card, and then you can add 1 level 5 or lower fire warrior from your deck to your hand. So this can search Red Layer, it can search any of your Noble Knights, it can search Gemba, I guess, it can search Fire Flint Lady. So that's really, really helpful. And it's an equip spell, and it can equip to anything. So if you go second and your opponent has a monster, you can just equip it to their monster and use it, which helps combo with Red Layer even, so that's pretty nice. And then yeah, Chalice gets that. It also has a Grave effect, which actually can come up now a little bit more because a lot of times our big boss monster sometimes has a Noble Arms equipped to him. So when your Noble Knight is killed by battle, when it has a Noble Arm equipped spell to it, you can add this from your graveyard back to your hand. So that could come up. Then we have Monster Reborn. It's just an extender. And then we already went over this equip spell. It also has another effect where if it's sent to grave, you can target one of your level 4 or lower. If it's sent to grave while equipped to a monster, you can target one of your level 5 or lower fire warriors and special summon it. And you get locked into warrior for the rest of the turn. But that's kind of nice on recovery plays, and sometimes it comes up. And then we just have a few 1-ups here. We have Different Dimension Reincarnation. This is just a really good extender because we have Phoenix Blade. You can send it with a Solde and add it back with Renaud, so it's really easy to get to it, even though we're only playing 1 of. We have Phoenix Blade. It might be one of the best equips in this deck, surprisingly, just because it gives you constant fodder for discards and stuff, and it helps with the new combo. and it helps just give Gearfried just a recurable equip spell that you can keep using to negate stuff, which sometimes is good, and sometimes the 300 attack boost is worth it. Not usually, but sometimes. Then we have 3 Living Fossil. The reason we're playing 3 of this and 3 of... Well, the reason we're playing 3 Durandals because it's a search card, so it's just really good. The reason we're playing 3 of this is because we're using Power Tool Dragon, and we want to reveal 3 Living Fossils, so we guarantee getting the Living Fossil off of the Power Tool Dragon. And it's just having... It's almost like having more copies of Monster Reborn, so I don't see why you wouldn't play 3 of this. Then we have 3 Durandal, and I like to play 1 more equip spell, just so if we needed to summon Oliver out of the deck, we could still draw an equip spell and still be able to do that. So I just put this. It's a Noble Arm Aphroditer. I probably didn't say that right. But you can search it off of this, which is nice. You can equip it to a warrior monster, so it doesn't have to be Noble Knight monster. And then you can make that monster lose 500 attack and then target a set card in the field and destroy it. So this gives you some form of back row removal in the main deck, which is really nice, I think. Like, you can just special red layer, equip this to the red layer, get rid of a back row, and then go from there. And then also, if it's sent to graveyard while equipped to a monster, you can target one of your Noble Knights and equip it to it. So, that's something, I guess. And then the extra deck, we're playing Halka Fibrax. He's part of the whole combo thing. We're playing tuners and stuff. Isolde is really why this deck works so well. Surprisingly enough, a lot of times with your hands, you don't actually need her to resolve, but it's nice when she does get to resolve. And then we have Auroradon, goes with the Needle Fiber. This is how you do most of your synchro plays, because you just get all those tokens to work with. And then I threw Unicorn and Access Code Talker, because with Link Cross gone, there was a few extra deck spaces that got cleared up. So I figured I was already always playing Access Code Talker, because it's just such an easy card to go into after using the second Isolde on your next turn. And then I threw the Unicorn in because you can use the Unicorn to make the access code bigger, and I think that's important to try and go for game, and it helps get rid of stuff too. And you have Phoenix Blade to just discard stuff. And then we have wonderful True King of all Calamities here, and then we have this to help make it. This Trish Fusion monster. You just banish any 3 monsters with different names. So it's usually Charles, the Auroradon, and then the last token you have from the Auroradon to make this, and then you usually overlay it with Archosaur. And then if you have the Renaud along with that, that's how you get DDR back to bring the Charles back. I don't know if we ever do it in the episode. I hope we do, but I don't remember. But yeah, so that's why these 2 are here. Herald is just really good to help protect the Calamities or protect like your Charles or whatever you're doing. This guy is so funny. So Charles doesn't have the smoke grenade to pop anymore, so we want to get some advantage off of him during our turn. So what you can do is if this guy's destroyed, you can target level 4 lower monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So he just brings the Colt Wing back, and Colt Wing's not once per turn on the token thing. So that's why he's here. And he's a warrior, so extra Phoenix Blade fodder, I guess. And then when we have Roland, he's just really good advantage because a lot of times with this deck, you'll set up the Calamities, or you'll set up your like Renaud, or you'll set up like your Roland, or you'll set up your Charles Herald play or whatever, and then you'll have like a bunch of cards like recycled in the end phase, and so even if they break your board, as long as they don't kill you, you'll have like really good recovery plays, which is nice, thanks to Roland here. And he gives your Charles a way to trigger it on your opponent's turn, which is really nice. We have the Power Tool Dragon. It's part of the Auroradon stuff with the Deskbot, because you gotta make a level 7 synchro off of the first token summon from Auroradon. And this is just really good because you're playing all these equip spells. It gets you a free Monster Reborn. We're playing Savage. He used to be way more important, but it's actually really hard to make him now. I mean, it's not hard, but like I don't know why you would over like Calamities Herald. But he's there. I mean, it's nice to have some things left in the extra deck the following turn in case they do break your board, so you could make them. Archosaur is part of the combo to make Calamities now, and he draws you a card, so if you add off of Isolde's first effect, that's 1 card you added, and then Archosaur will draw you another card, so that's 2, and then Roland gets you another card, so that's 3 cards you added to your hand going into the next turn, which is really nice. And then the last thing we have is Infernoble Knight Emperor Charles. He's just really good. So usually he's just being used for VFD fodder, but like if you're facing a back row deck, if you already know that you're facing like a real stunny deck or something like that Calamities doesn't help, you can sit on him because you can make him untargetable with Oliver. Can't be disturbed by card effects, and then he can just start destroying things every time something gets equipped, which is really nice. And then yeah, and now he equips this usually in the end phase instead of the smoke grenade. So if he gets to stick on the board, you get to get another free search. So it's almost like you get 4 extra cards going into your next turn, which is really nice. So that's it. The side deck's just, I don't know, it's just stuff I was messing with. A lot of back row removal. I thought this would be funny because you can Reaper the Calamities if you're facing Virtual World, or you can Reaper a Needle Fiber if you really wanted to, or like the Herald or something like that. I don't know. I don't know if this is worth it or not. Probably not. But this side deck is just ignore it. But yeah, that's the deck. Hopefully you get to see it in action in the actual video. I can't really remember that much about that. That was the 3rd video we filmed that day, and we were all really tired by that one. So I don't know if we actually did the combos or not. I think we might have at least once, but anyways, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Hope you watch the next video on this. Like I said, the deck list will look different on the Scoop Phase episode, but it essentially just plays exactly the same. So yeah, goodbye everybody. Alright, so like I said, I don't remember if we did actually end up doing any of the combos in the actual video, because a lot of times people quit when they see this go off if they don't have a hand trap. So I figured I'd just do a really quick, just show you what actually the combo is. So as you can see, we just need this technically. I mean, I personally don't like this hand, because if you get hand trapped once, it's over. But in theory, let's pretend you don't get hand trapped. So you just go here. Basically, it can be Neo Space Connector, or it can just be any way to a Soul Day. So it could be a normal Summonable Warrior plus a Red Layer, or a Fire Flint Lady. It doesn't really matter. And then you can choose to do this if you want. I'm just going to do it to show you. You can add the Gear Freed for next turn. So this is part of the getting the really good recovery stuff. And then we'll just go to here. So you always want to make sure you send the Phoenix Blade. And then I like to send the DDR. If we had Renaud, you definitely send the DDR. And then we summon Gemba. We need our tuner. So this is where like all the Link Cross stuff would happen, but obviously Link Cross isn't here anymore. So we just kind of skip all the extra stuff and go straight to what is actually important here. If you're ever playing against this deck, this or the Aurora Dawn is what you want to hand trap. Don't hand trap the Isolde. Hand trap this, because you really can't make the Aurora Dawn without this in play. And even if they make the Aurora Dawn, if you like imperm the Aurora Dawn, there's not much they can do without these tokens. So you just do that. You get all these tokens out. Then the Despot comes out. And then from here is when you could start to mess up if you didn't know what you're doing. So you want to make the Power Tool first. This is when you make the Power Tool Dragon. And then this is when you reveal the 3 Living Fossils. If you already have Living Fossil in your hand, you can just reveal Durandal if you haven't used it already. But if you have Durandal and Living Fossil, then I guess it doesn't really matter what you do with Power Tool Dragon. So from here, you're going to use this to tribute the token and the Power Tool. Don't tribute the Auroradon, because this Cult Wing needs the Auroradon there to be able to go off. So then he goes off here, he makes the 2 tokens, and then the Despot comes back again. See, so like if you're seeing how important this Despot is. So like if the Needle Fiber doesn't go off, sometimes they just can't really do anything. And so from here, you usually would make Herald in the old plays, but now here's where we make the Balmug. And then you want to use the Living Fossil. This is why it's so important you get a level 2, because you have to go level 2 in with this 3 to make Roland here. And then Roland gets his effect, so we've added the Gear Freed now. We're going to add another card in the end phase. And then from here is where we make the Charles. Now this is where it's important. You want to make sure you don't mess this up, because you want the Phoenix Blade in play, usually. So what you can do is, you want to make sure the Phoenix Blade equips to the Balmug, because Charles doesn't care who gets equipped as long as something gets equipped. And then Charles is going to go off, and he's going to destroy the Balmug. And then Balmug's going to go off, and you're going to bring back the Cult Wing. And then, but since you equipped the Phoenix Blade to the Balmug, the Phoenix Blade's now back engraved to where you can add it back to your hand again. Whereas if you equipped it to the Charles, you'd still get this stuff, but then the Phoenix Blade's stuck on the Charles, which sometimes you don't want, especially if you had the Renaud to do the DDR play. And as you can see, we can get Nibiru'd at any time here. That's one of the biggest weaknesses now, is that you can get Nibiru'd pretty hard. So from here is where you make the Herald. Just stick them right there. And last, what you're going to do is you're going to make the Trishula, and you're going to banish the Auroradon, the Coltwing, and the Token. And then from there, you're just going to make Calamities. And then that's pretty much the end board here. I like to do this just to make sure my Isolde doesn't get called by the Graved or something. So we just add that back to hand. And then end phase, you're going to get Roland. I usually just send one of these two. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to send that. And then I like to add Renaud. You could add any of these warriors, to be honest with you. But I'm just going to add Renaud. So what ends up happening is... Oh, we have to discard. Anyways, what ends up happening is you can do this whenever. I think is actually the safest bet now, because they can't droplets a monster away because of Herald here. And then if they have Imperm, you can negate it. They'd have to have like Imperm plus Gamma, or like Imperm plus droplets or something to actually deal with this. Whereas if you wait, they could Kaiji you or just Dark Ruler you. So I just like to do it now. And then make sure you detach Charles, because you can definitely get him back. And then call whatever you want. Just keep in mind, if you call like Dark, they could super poly these two. But I don't know if it's that important. I'm just going to call Wind. I don't care. So from here, they can't activate their monster effects on field. And then if you called the right attribute, they can't activate them anywhere. And then they can't attack. So they can't even try and beat over the Herald. And then when it goes back to your turn, you have Gearfried can just summon himself with the Phoenix Blade there to equip to him immediately. And then once the Gearfried's on field, the Renaud can special himself and bring back the DDR or whatever you want. And then you can just go from there, usually, to just try and make another Isolde and just go into Unicorn Access Code. And that usually finishes them off. So that's the most basic. There's other ones. I'm not going to show it, though, because it's essentially the same thing. You just end with Charles on top of this. So, yeah, there's the combo if you wanted to see it. Goodbye.